Here.
Yes.
Thanks to
Good
share.
day. Good evening. Podcast community. Pete Kane here, Podcast Pete and certified lifestyle coach. And we have a special guest on our show. And we're going to talk about relationships, something that's so important in life. So, Emma, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you serve. And then we'll get into our podcast.
Lovely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here, Pete. I really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Oh,
Always love sharing the wisdom with the community and sharing a little love and energy, good yummy stuff with people.
awesome.
And a little bit about me. Let's see. I've been in private practice for 25 years in my private
Wow.
practice, 26 years in my private practice, and of course, practicing before that. And the work has always been with couples, just
hmm
because I love couples in that I feel that they're the foundation of our world, our society.
What do you think? Yeah, I totally agree. And, with divorce rate well over 50%, you can see that there are some challenges for people getting along. So let's go back 20 some years. What got you even involved in relationships? What was the motivation or the starting point or the desire?
Yes. So the magical story is that I worked in foster care right out of college.
hmm
And as part of that experience, the dysfunction of the family became even more obvious, right? Because kids in foster care, I mean, it almost doesn't get any worse than that.
Yes.
I would say it doesn't get worse than that. And just noticing the lack of commitment between the parents and the dysfunction or difficulties or struggles that individual people would have, and that they couldn't hold partnerships and homes together, and therefore the kids were also impacted. And I mean, I don't mean to minimize that experience in that population in any particular way, or uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Position them or showcase them in any particular way.
hmm
But that experience showed me that, wow, it the couple is so important. It's so obvious in this population. This is what I needed to see for me to realize. Like, it was obvious. It's obvious in all the couples, but in that particular population, in that particular experience, it was like in my face, right? So it helped me kind of wake up to something needs to happen with this. How do we take care of the family better, so that
hmm
the children could be taken care of better,
hmm
so that they could have a better future? And these are the leaders of our worlds, in the future of our society. Um, and so that part of that experience was like, okay, so how do I serve better? Like, what do I want to do with my life, with my profession? I had all these ideas. I want to be a psychiatrist. I want to be a psychologist. I want to help people. I want to help people. But I wasn't sure, and so I paused my education, and I went to work in foster care, and that was the part of that awakened that desire to take care of the family. And as I studied the family, as I went for my master's and I practiced and I worked and all the things, the couple stood out more as like, oh, if the couple is okay, then the family is okay. And this might not be a very popular belief for people who are single, for people who chose not to get married to have a partnership, or for people who have been divorced. And some people might not like this positioning, but that's just a strong belief that I have. The stronger the couple, the better the family, and the better the children. And of course, you have any kind of structure as a family. I'm not saying that that's the only way to have a strong family,
hmm
but that is a strong, strong mechanism for a strong family and to raising children well.
Well, what do you think? We go to school, we learn a lot of subjects, but I don't ever remember any subject in my schooling that was relationship focused. And it's so critical to life. It's kind of like we overlooked it. Do you see any changes in that, or is it just been the accepted norm that we overlook relationships
You know
and
what's
what it
really
takes?
What's really interesting about this, I used to hear the same thing about finances, right? They don't
Hmm.
teach you how to do finances in schools, and you're supposed to figure out how to manage your money. But then there were courses like, I'm aging myself. This is how you do your checkbook. This is how you write a check. There was like those classes in high school, right? This is how
Hmm.
you use a typewriter. I'm really dating myself. But never, how do you really show commitment to a partner?
Yeah.
How are you the best partner that you could be? How do you show up to a relationship? How do you communicate your needs? How do you express your feelings? How do you feel your feelings? What?
Hmm.
We have feelings that we're supposed to share? Back then was even worse. No, like you stuff your feelings, like you like, no, So and definitely for men on top of that,
Yes.
right?
Totally. Yes.
But for everybody, and even in the professional community, God forbid, you're a little emotional, right? Like then you're like a
Hmm.
doodle. And so we can't have feelings, we can't have needs. We're supposed to be very robotic and mechanical about life and just produce and be productive and take care of business. Meanwhile, the body breaks down, mental health doesn't work, our wellness is messed up, we're
Hmm.
out of whack, we don't show up properly to our home, to our relationship, never mind to our children, right? And so back to square one. How do we take care of ourselves so we can be good partners? How do we create a good relationship? And the school system does not help you, to answer your question.
Yeah, 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 I have not seen any indication that it's changed. There was a stat. It was like we watch 4 hours of TV, we scroll like 2.5 hours of TikTok videos or social media. So we're consuming other people's lives,
Hmm.
but we're not creating our life. And so is our intention just completely in the wrong area? Because I think we're born to create, but if
Mm,
we're always consuming,
I
where do,
love that.
yeah, I came across just when I would hear these stats, I'm going, whoa, and I gave up TV, I gave up social media, and my brain is and my life is so much better.
Yes.
So what do you think social media, all that stuff out there, has on our relationships? What can you tie maybe something like that to with the work that you're doing?
Yeah. So there's a lot of angles on what you're saying. Let me see if I could touch on a few things that I heard. First of all, yes, we consume so much content in other people's lives, in the reality shows, in the YouTube videos, and the families and couples on social media, how they showcase this reality or whatever
Mhm.
couples are supposed to look like, and romance is supposed to look like, and connection and all these things. So never mind the old-fashioned movies or the what the movies used to feed us. Now we have it on our little, on our little gadgets, devices, and we're consuming these fake couples. So that's something else. So we're consuming, consuming, consuming. So not only do we have these weird ideas of how things are and should work, one,
Mhm.
two, to the point that you were making, what is it doing to our brain, right? So there's plenty of studies on,
Mhm.
and now with AI, forget about it. So that we could pinpoint, we could come back to that. So the brain is becoming more and more mush, right? So it's interesting because I'm not much of a social media person myself either. So I do
Mhm.
what I have to do just so that I could showcase what was available for people, but I don't really live on it myself so much. I have a weak spot for YouTube, but shh, don't tell anybody. But generally, I don't. But I notice that the
Yeah.
more I consume YouTube, if I go into any rabbit hole, if I'm doing any research, I notice my capacity to focus goes away. My
Mm.
patience for writing this much text, it's lower. Or just for writing a full sentence. It's so interesting how we become so dependent on the tools and everything moving so fast that we just can't sit. And I'm very good at focusing. I'm a strong productive person in all of the different productive areas.
Mhm.
And to witness my own brain, to observe my own brain kind of like getting fidgety and like can't focus and like impatient to finish a sentence, it's like, whoa, maybe I've been on YouTube a little too long. Maybe today
Mhm.
I need to give this a rest for the day. My brain's really mush. It's not functioning properly. Like I
Mhm.
feel it. I don't know if everybody has that ability to feel their own brain like that. I mean, this is part of my work. I'm very intuitive. I'm very aware, in touch with myself, all the different things. And so I notice when my brain is not doing what it's supposed to do. But so people could take my word for it. People could do their own research. They could experiment with their own selves. Like, what happens? Like you said, right? Like you were feeling much better when you stopped or when you decreased. Experiment, right? Remove the apps, reduce the screen time, whatever it is, and you will see the difference if you pay attention. Now, your question was, what does it do to relationships? Well, scrolling for hours. People are in bed. I hear this with couples all the time. They are in bed at night and they're scrolling. Right? So what happens to intimacy? I don't have to spell it out.
Yeah.
People are watching TV or eating their meals, or people at restaurants. When you go to restaurants, don't you see people on their devices? They're eating together at a restaurant and they're on their devices. Just anywhere, right? So we're just not present to our own life, never mind to ourselves, our own inner workings, our mind, our brain, our feelings, and never mind being available and connected to somebody else. And then we wonder, how come our relationship feels flat? How come we don't feel so good? How come our kids are acting out? How come our health is not so good? How come our finances are struggling? How come things are breaking down? Because we're just not vibrating properly. We're not operating properly. We're not showing up. There's no life force. Everything will be dull. Your relationship will be flat and dull. Your intimacy will be flat and dull.
Yeah, there's so much that if we don't intentionally lean into those relationships, they don't automatically happen. I started out in social media, I don't know how many years ago. So I was kind of in that game and I understood it. Not that I did that much of it, but I was in it.
Right.
When I decided to step away, because I had to repair my brain and I wanted to do everything from sugar to, TV, social media. And I just wake up energized. I have good quality sleep. And it's just that getting all that out of your life that is so easy to fall into.
Yes.
What do you think when it comes to boundaries? I didn't hear about this until later in life. What does boundaries have to do with relationships?
Okay, so we could segue more easily into that transition. First of all, boundaries with social media. How about that, right? So just owning our own time, owning our own energy. I love what you said. So kudos. Just our own mental health. Sleep is better. The toxins are out of the body. All the things that you remove for yourself, those are all boundaries, right? And so the same thing with social media, timing of it and how quantity. So to watch that mental health, terrific. That will spill over into the relationship. The more that you have the energy, the more life force that you bring to the relationship, and that would have a positive impact. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect, more to direct to your question, is what are boundaries in a relationship? So I could answer that in a lot of different ways. The thing that's coming first to mind is people have a tendency to either have boundaries that are either too rigid or too flexible or too invisible or not existent. When they're too rigid, I don't let love in. You can't feel, my love doesn't come out. You can't feel my love, right? When we're too rigid, we are not flexible in how we do the routines, in how we show up to the things. So if all the stars don't line up, we can't have sex. If everything needs to be so prescriptive, so exact for things to work, for us to feel okay or whatever it is. So that's the rigid boundaries. I can be there for you in the way that you need me to, because these things need to be this particular way, or because I'm not getting this thing, I can't give you this thing. So that's the rigidity part of it. When they're too loose, your feelings become my feelings. What you need are my needs. I can't share my needs because I don't know what my needs are. Right? It's like so diffused or so spread out or so invisible. I'm not contained. I don't know where I start, where I end. I don't know where you start and end, and everything's meshed together. So that's a part of being codependent in a relationship, where I just take care of your stuff. I don't even know what mine is. I'm not existent, or I feel like yours is mine. I don't know the difference. I'm overdoing. I'm taking care of your stuff, or other people, or you. So those are the ways that the diffuse or poor boundaries shows up. So then the trick is we don't want either one. We want something more in the middle. So I want to have healthy boundaries, meaning I want to be able to take care of myself, own myself, be empowered without losing myself, but also be available for you and take care of you. Not in taking care of you, but being caring and being available, being nurturing, being loving, all the good things. And so then the middle ground serves us for not losing ourselves, but not also distancing from you. Not losing, not overdoing the other way. So it's not you versus me, it's us. And it helps create a different container.
That's so good. You in some of the questions that you answered, there is a word you call level up the relationship, and I only heard that a few years ago through a personal growth community, Brendan Bouchard, and he's always talking about leveling up your relationship, leveling up your peer group. So how does Emma level up her relationship? I mean, how do you keep growing?
Oh, gosh, I love that. So I am always consuming. So let's bring it full circle for my own growth.
Yeah.
Right. So I consume junk too, but I try not to consume too much of it, right? Just for kicks and for fun. But I'm a strong consumer of spiritual things, personal development things, growth, all these things. In all areas of life, in things that interest me, but primarily like wellness, health, wellness, growing a business, serving other people, relationship stuff, all the things. In that consumption, I integrate it into all my stuff. And in that integration, it helps me level up myself, right? Heal myself, grow myself, change my own patterns, continue to do all of my things. And as I do my own work, that way and in other ways, obviously, but just in a nutshell, then I could show up better to my partner. So when I show up better, and this is what I teach our couples, and this is what I write about, these are our programs, these are all the things. When I do me better as a person, I could be a better partner. When I'm a better partner, I invite better from my partner, and that's when we create something good. What couples do wrong is that they're waiting for their partner to do better, for them to heal, for them to grow, for them to show up better, for them to do the thing. So I'm sitting here waiting, and they're there waiting, and everybody's waiting, and the relationship sucks. Right? Or for example, and it goes away. But if I do me, because I only have control over me, I can't tell you what to do. I have no control over what you choose to do at the end of the day. I can't force you. I can't put a gun to your head. Even if I do, it still doesn't work, right? And I do me differently. When I do me differently, it invites you to respond to me differently. And in that, the other person changes. So I do have influence on their changing. But I'm not forcing anything. I'm not telling them. I'm not owning them. I'm not doing all the funny business. I'm not in their circle. I'm not crossing any boundaries. I'm owning me. And with that, I impact, I influence, and I create something good. So that's how I level up my relationship.
Oh, I love that. I probably should have said like the consumption, if you're consuming it to better yourself, I think there's a big difference between entertaining yourself and bettering yourself. I have a friend, I'm in Rotary down here, and one of the ladies, she has 3 coaches. She's a top performer. And we were talking about personal development. And we were saying like, it's such a small percentage of people that really work on themselves. And it's like, we couldn't come to any like, why? Because it's so powerful when you work on yourself, when you get better, when you level up, and you're responsible for yourself, not others, yourself. So have you seen anything in your work? Like, once you bring to their attention of working on themselves, and do you see the light bulb going off in some couples? All of a sudden, like they start that journey, and then
Oh, yeah.
their whole life starts to change, and the relationship starts to
That's
change.
the whole work. Yes. Of course.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the work with couples. And what I love about this, having the joint sessions. So let me preface this, say with this first. To change your relationship, like we've been saying, you don't need the whole couple. I hear this a lot, and it's super annoying. People say
Mm-hmm.
things like, "Well, if they're not putting in the work, then that's how you know, or nothing can change. You both have to be in it," and all kinds of things like this. Not true, right? So I live this myself, and I see this with my couples all the time. One person could take the lead. You could be a
Mm-hmm.
leader in your relationship. When you lead, people follow. And it doesn't mean that you have to be always the leader, or that you have to be the leader and you don't want to be the leader. Why is my husband the leader? He's the man, he should be the leader, all these weird things. No, emotionally and relationally, if you have the awareness that you want something different, you could lead the change. It doesn't matter gender, energetics, history, age, blah, 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 all the things. No. You want change, lead it. Right? Things balance out eventually. So don't worry about that. You don't want to be the leader. If that's
Mm-hmm.
what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I'm the leader. As the leader of it, and this is what I see in the couples that I work with, the person who's invested in creating the change, who dragged the other partner in or whatever it is, or who has more awareness, more emotional intelligence, whatever, that person starts doing their own side. And what's
Mm-hmm.
so beautiful when I work with the couples is that person starts owning and shifting the things that they're contributing to the dynamics. They're doing their own changes, their own growth, their own development. The partner's like, ooh, okay. They start stepping up. That's the whole point. This is what
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking about. And that's what happens, right? And so it's gorgeous to see people empower themselves that way and let go of, like, I had to make my partner do the things. That's so exhausting, right? And when they're like, oh, I could do my own things and things work better and they show up, huh? Who would have thunk it? It's freaking awesome, right? So it
Mm-hmm.
works amazing, and that's the work. And so then both people then are stepping up more, and then they do show up, And if they don't, then that's your answer.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
you have to give it some time, because sometimes the other person is a little slower on the uptake, or they're still resisting things, if they're not sure, they have different developmental levels, whatever,
Yeah.
right? I also have couples or partners that say things like, well, I'm doing all the work. They're not doing the work. I'm doing the workbooks. I'm watching the videos. I'm coming to the sessions or whatever. They have their own style, their own way of doing things. Don't own their journey. To each their own. And something that I love to teach is that we're on a journey
Mm-hmm.
individually, as a couple. There's a reason why we have this partner. This partner is our life partner. Like, that gets lost in translation. We might say the vows when we get married. Oh, my life partner, my wife, my spouse for life, whatever language we use. And yes, we know that we're married for life, potentially. But the main point of the partnership gets lost in translation, which is like, this is the person that I'm creating this life with, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This body is laying in bed with me. Their energy is affecting my energy, my own biology. Right? Like, it's like to the level that we're impacted by each other, and that we could influence each other. And if we're intentional in a good way, this is the person that I'm evolving with. They're my buddy for this life journey, so that I could become this better person of myself and have this grand life experience.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, And people beat on their partner, and they throw them out and throw them with the garbage, right? They put them down, they criticize and they shame them, they're waiting for them to change. And it's like, what are you doing? This is your person, a little respect.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a really cool point. What do you think when it comes to your journey and what you've learned? If you were trying to mentor or consult with a 20-year-old Emma, what
Go
would
for
you tell her?
it. What was the question? What would
What
it
would you tell her?
Mm.
What would you tell a 20-year-old Emma about relationships that you know now that would help a younger Emma?
Yes. Well, so a little background. I met my husband in college
Mm-hmm.
and we're still together. And that's a long time. And 20 years old, I was still in college. And we had been together for a couple of years. So what I would say is everything that I just said now, I've learned from all of that time together and from the work that I do and from my schooling and learnings and other things. So some of that wisdom I would impart to her from earlier. Not so much control, let go, mind your business, do your own side. All the things that I just mentioned, I would
Mm-hmm.
impart much earlier in my life. And
Mm.
apply them much earlier. I would have saved us a lot of heartaches and aches and
Yeah.
things over the years for sure.
What do you have like a routine that has worked for you? Like, do you journal? Do you meditate? Do you do things that have been very beneficial to your growth?
For sure. I'm a strong meditator.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very spiritual practice. So every morning, my daughter makes fun of me. I have a little tray on my kitchen counter
Mm-hmm.
with all my incense and my candles and my crystals and all my fun things. I also have next to that, and I have another one in my home office, but of course the kitchen is much better for everything.
Mm-hmm.
The kitchen is the heart and soul of the house. Next to it, I have a red light lamp, red therapy.
Uh-huh.
So I put on the red light on my face. I light all the candles, all the incense, all the things, and I do meditations.
Ooh.
Super. So I take care of a bunch of things at the same time, and depending on the mood, is what kind of incense I put on, or what kind of little bricks, the little incense bricks, whatever. Um, so there's different things for different chakras, blah blah blah, right? So it depends on what I'm working on and what I'm feeling. That's the
Yeah.
incense that I use, and then I would do either guided meditations or shamanic journeys, or I belong to some spiritual programs, so I would do courses through the program. So whatever feels like I need in the moment. Depends on the
Mm-hmm.
energetics and the feelings and the moods and all the things. But definitely spiritual in nature with a little setup. Oh, and drinking the mate, of course.
Drinking the what?
Yerba mate.
What is that? Tell me more about
So
that.
of course I said it with Argentina accent. I'm from Argentina originally. And there was a drink. It's a green leaf tea, yerba
Yeah.
mate. So I drank it in the Argentine traditional way with the gourd and the straw and the things. It's like a whole ritual.
Whoa. I love that. Yeah, I was not a meditator. I was not a journaler. And after my stroke, I had 49 days to think.
Oh wow.
And it slowed me down, which was good. And it got me to really find out more about myself.
Hmm.
I mean, I now probably have 18 journals. I don't know that I did one journal in my first 64 years.
Nice. Good
But
for you.
but just I love to write. I love to meditate. But I was at a senior expo and the lady was talking about red light. So tell me a little bit more about how does that red light affect what you're doing and what's the benefits that a person would get from
Okay.
implementing that. It was interesting. It was a wrap. I mean, it was pretty cool because I've heard a lot about red light, but I
Mhm.
have never really kind of dug into it.
Well, so it's completely for vanity purposes.
Okay.
um, I'm joking, but I'm joking and I'm not. So
Yeah.
definitely it helps with the skin and all the things. It stimulate self regeneration, all that
Yeah.
stuff, collagen production, all the things. But it helps with inflammation, and it
Yeah.
also kind of mimics the sun, so it's like a healthier version of the sun. So, I mean, I don't know if everybody would agree with this per se. I don't know the science behind it exactly.
Yeah.
But if to me, I feel, especially when I'm meditating like this, and this red light is on me, it feels like I'm like the rays and the sun and the energy is coming
Yeah.
on. So it has multiple feels and
Yeah.
benefits.
Yeah, well, I know because I go out on the porch in the morning and I just kind
Right.
of feel the sun,
Yes.
down, and there's something therapeutic about it. I mean, because they talk about areas that don't get much sun, how the level of depression and anxiety is higher than in areas that get sun. And she did say when I was asking her about the therapy. It was like a wrap, and it talked about inflammation. She
Mhm.
talked about the health benefits
Mhm.
of using this. This was with seniors, and so she was helping them understand that. So that's interesting. I love that. So, what do you think when it comes to today? Is there some myths or some things that people continue to miss that you see come up in your practice on a regular basis, maybe in the last 15 years versus,
Mm.
years ago? Is there anything newish that, keeps coming up that you have to walk people through, help people through?
That's a great question. Let me think. I think I don't know how new this is. Like, I just the busyness of people just being on the go, 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 and just the grind and the hustle. Some of the stories that I hear from people, how they schedule their children and all the amount of stuff that people are doing is like, why are we living like this?
Mm-hmm.
So when my daughter is in her early 20s now, but when she was much younger and she was in Girl Scouts, little side story to bring this point drive this point
Mm-hmm.
home. There was this woman who had her daughter in soccer, and I forget what the next thing was. So she would take her out of the soccer field,
Mm-hmm.
bring her to the van, have her change, and then go to the next activity. I think it was dance class. So she would
Wow.
get out of the soccer field, change in the car from the soccer outfit, put your leotard on, and go to dance class now. Why are we doing that?
That's crazy.
Right? And so
Yeah.
that was the most extreme case because like you're
Yeah.
removing them from one activity that you're paying for, that they're invested in, that you're putting time and effort into to go do another one. That doesn't even
Yeah.
make sense. But then I hear people like 3 sports and the this and the other thing, and it's like the overscheduling between the social media and the devices and the video games and the overscheduling. There's
Mhm.
no time to breathe. There's no time to be. There's no time for intuition, for prayer, for being, for accessing your things, knowing your feelings, understanding what's happening with you, having your own thoughts. None of that. Like we're not living. And this is what people are teaching their children, right? And people are living like that too. I mean, the adults are doing
Yeah.
the same thing.
So
So
I
with the
agree.
meetings and the work and the commitments and the things, and it's like another story. I had one person, I was in a meeting, some kind of, I forget what kind of meeting. And she shared how she was involved in different community boards, like 10 community boards. Like what? Like why? Like it's just the excess of the things
Yeah.
that people do. It just is too much, right? And then they're wondering how come things are breaking down again to the point that
Yeah.
we were making earlier.
I'm wondering because I rented a cyber truck from a friend of mine,
Mm,
and I had the best time with my daughters, with my granddaughters, and it was just being present with them and not having to be concerned about watching for, people driving. And I wouldn't drive at night because the lights would bother me and the sound. And I'm so relaxed now. I invested in
mm,
one and got one. And I went 10 hours up. I live in Atlanta. So I went to Richmond and I was 10 hours in the car by myself. And I got there so fresh,
mm.
so much energy that I stayed up with a couple friends and did this return trip a couple days later, which
Love that.
usually I don't do it that quick.
Mm,
I ended up going to the gym after being 10 hours in the car, but my brain was so present, so
mm,
relaxed, so much because I wasn't, on that driving, thinking about where people are cutting in and all that.
Right,
So
right.
that busyness, I think, has
Hmm.
compounded in our environment. And it just seems like when you can have that self-awareness, and I think this is my opinion, I have never read anything about it. People that are so busy don't want to really slow down to look at themselves. It's like the more I stay busy, the less I have to think about doing anything I mean, I don't know if
It's a
that's,
catch-22. I think you're onto
yeah,
something there for sure. The people who are moving so fast like that, they don't even have the awareness that they should slow down,
yeah,
right? Until something breaks, or something, marriage breaks, the kids, somebody gets hurt, health condition, something happens, and then they're like,
yeah,
oh, right? Fortunately, or some people are like, okay, this is not working. I'm really tired. Whatever. They start having some awareness, but it's hard. It's an addiction. Being so
yes,
productive, so busy, so all the things. Also, people don't know what to do with quiet time, with downtime, with like being on vacation, just relaxing, or like not having something to do. People don't know what to do with themselves because they haven't been able to be with themselves, right? So it's a lot of different things there. I don't know if I fully answered your question that you asked me about new
yeah.
things that I
I
might
think
see
it
in
was
the
that
digital
that
world.
busyness that, do
Mhm.
you see it? I mean, you mentioned it a little bit. I guess I was just kind of talking about my own mental health, how it's been so beneficial. And I'll ask people about like meditation or a routine, and I'll hear things like, "Oh, I can never meditate. I can never," I would probably have said that 5 years ago,
Mm.
but I couldn't. I do it probably 2, 3 times during the day, in the morning, in the evening, and then during the day. And it's so calming because I'm ADHD and dyslexic. So I have that active brain. But if you can't slow it down, are you too?
Not dyslexic, but definitely ADHD, and
Okay.
yeah, so some fun things.
Yeah, the creative. So I've heard this, and I want you to kind of see if this is something you've been familiar with. Like from ages 1 to 7, our personalities are formed. There's so much that happens in those younger years. Do you see any of that in relationships? Those first 7 years are kind of like formational.
Oh, there's so much stuff in that. Remind me to come back to the AI thing that we pinned, if it serves,
Okay.
because people are doing relationships through AI and other things, right? So if it makes sense, we don't.
Okay.
Um, people are born with like a predisposition or a temperament, right?
Hmm.
I was a strong, strong, strong believer of what you just said, the formative years, my training, how you were parented, this is what the kid that turns out, and all the things, right? Forever and a day. Then my sister had twin boys,
Hmm.
and they came out so different. And I was like, oh, like, wait a second, maybe I need
Yeah.
to revisit this a little bit. So the temperament is there, some of the personalities are there, some of the genes, like what do you get more from the combination of the parents, blah, 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 right? Genetics, all the things. So they definitely impact. But to answer your question, those 7 years are massive. And would they still have the essence of who they are? Yes. That's what we're born with, our soul, our body, our chemistry, the genetics, all the things, that we're still the people at the core. But the way that we show up in the world, our identity, the way that we do things, our habits and all the things, those get programmed really early on.
Mm.
And from the moment we come out and we're put on the chest of the mother, or we're nursed or not, and all the things, the relationship that we start having with our caretakers, how quickly they respond to our needs, and how am I experiencing my own body, and all of the things, from like really from the moment that we're born, even in utero, actually, impacts, right? Because now I'm forming myself, my actual brain wiring
Mm-hmm.
is impacted by the interactions that I'm having with my external world and how I'm experiencing myself. So I'm making myself up as I'm interacting with you, right? So as a
Mm-hmm.
kid, not just in the interactions, I'm being created, but also in your reflection of me. Like when the way you look at me and the way you treat me impacts my experience of myself, which
Mm-hmm.
also impacts how I create myself. And then there's the wounding and all the other experiences and the messages and all the things that parents that we do in our parenting, that parents do, that bring in all the messaging that we have, all the belief systems, or if I'm hurt, the defense mechanisms, like, oh, if that happens, I'm going to do this. If that happens, I'm going to do this. Patterns start getting created,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we meet our partner who might have the opposite patterns, and we lack beautifully together, and we co-create the things. Unless we're very intentional, we keep having the same fights because of those patterns from growing up. So the personality gets kind of formed by all those patterns. I don't know if you're familiar with the work of Joe Dispenza.
Oh
He
yeah. Oh yeah.
he calls it the habit of being ourselves. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everything about us is a habit. How I choose to do my hair every day is a habit, right? Like I could choose to look very, very differently. I made myself look like this. I mean, I might have some features, but
Mm-hmm.
it's incredible when you watch movies and you see actors and actresses how they could look so different. And it's like, right?
Yeah.
Like just a look, we could look any way we want.
Yes.
We are choosing to look a particular way that we look. Not only with our grooming and our haircut and all the things, but just our clothing, how we carry ourselves, our mannerisms, the accessories, how we're fit, not fit, healthy, not healthy, whatever, all the things. We are making ourselves on a daily basis. Everything that we consume, from food, drink, extracurriculars, social media, whatever, all the things, they're literally making our body.
Mm-hmm.
By the cells, the food, like, the French fries are on the, right? The food is literally making the body physically,
Yeah.
and the energetics.
Yes.
So we could change everything about ourselves if we wanted to. If we're
Yeah.
intentional, we could definitely change everything.
Yeah, I guess it's that motivation. Do we want to? Or are we settling for just who we are?
Most people are
I,
settling.
I wanted to go back because you did bring up AI,
Yes.
and I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he's going to be the president, and he's talking about his chatting with AI. He goes, "It's my personal friend now," so and he's getting a lot done by using it, but. Talk to me about, because I'm hearing these things like now you're connected to your AI personality that you have. What are you seeing, and what should
Okay.
we be aware of?
So a few things. First of all, we already talked about how it numbs your brain, right? So
Mm-hmm.
at that aside, all the technology impact on the brain aside, now we're talking more emotional. Aside from the productivity and the way that people are using AI. So there's three levels, like the impact on the biology or the productivity of the work, where AI is taking the collective and the world and people, whatever. And then we have the impact. This is what I'm interested in, the impact on the emotional and on the relational.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little slow on the uptake with AI, I'm going to be honest. So it's been around for a few years, and I started really using it like last year.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started playing with it, I was like, whoa, like it repeats things, and it talks so nice to you potentially.
Yeah.
And I know this, and it's like, and again, like I said earlier in this conversation, I'm very mindful of my brain and my
Mm-hmm.
feelings, and I could feel my reactions to this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, what in the world? This could be scary. If I'm aware of the connection that I'm feeling,
Yeah.
I was like, people who are not as aware or careful or intentional, like, how is this going to mess with them?
Yeah.
So that's really scary. So I was like, oh, wow, this is very interesting. And also, so one was like, oh, this is nice on one hand. On the other hand, if it wasn't doing what I wanted, because this is, of course, last year, and it was like really, really, not as good as it is now. Oh, the frustration. I was like, oh, and I was like, wow, I could get this agitated with the friggin' thing that doesn't mean anything. It's like interesting how you
Yeah.
get triggered, and you create a relationship
Yeah.
because it responds to your stuff. So interesting, right? So it could actually replicate your triggers. Very interesting. There's all kinds of things that could happen here. Very,
Yeah.
very interesting. But the thing that's really scary is that people are dating virtually. They're creating boyfriends and girlfriends. They're having
Really.
relationships with their AI. That's
Golly.
what's really scary.
Yeah.
Right? And people can make decisions without running by their AI. And I even have people who share things like, well, I asked my they name him and they have the things, or my chat or whatever. I asked my AI and they said, and like they're dependent on
Yeah.
the use and the information and the logic and the feedback. People are having fights with their partners and they're asking their AI what to say. It's like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. There is that, that comfort, because you feel like if you're talking to the AI, you have that ability to communicate unfiltered, maybe. I don't know if that's how people feel about it, but I know it's a slippery slope. You have to lean into it, but you know, not so much that you're not thinking. I
Right.
I'm rereading John Maxwell's book. Um, uh, it's called like the think. It was something about how critical thinking is not. I don't know what the exact title, but it's not in front of me. But it's like this was written 2003, I think.
Mm,
So it was a few years ago, but he talked about how critical it was to think, and how to put that time in there, the different types. And we can get to a point where we're just not thinking, we're reacting, and we're allowing something like an AI to do our thinking. And I think that's where you were chatting about the brain rot, because if you allow it and you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So, but I want to be respectful of time. I could geek out
so
a
fun.
lot longer. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you for speaking longer than I normally, but the topic is so interesting. I love your perspective on it. So tell our viewers, how can they get more of Emma?
Oh, lovely. Yes. So if people are familiar with Substack, that's one of my newest babies.
Mm-hmm.
And I created a channel there, or Substack, called The Love Movement. It's
Hmm.
actually Love Movement. And so welcome people to come check it out. I put some nice content on there, some nice notes, articles, and different things for people to enjoy. And also we're having monthly new love events. I'm putting
Mm-hmm.
replays on there so people could check those out if they're interested. And one of the other latest things, because I'm always putting out new things,
Mm-hmm.
is our Awaken to Love program. So they
Mm.
could check that out at metrorelationship.com/awaken to love. And that is a 10-week program for couples for relationship. People don't have to
Mm-hmm.
bring their partner, to improve the couple relationship and to take things to the next level and
Mm.
elevate, create the relationship that they love.
That is beautiful. I want to encourage our viewers, share this with people that need to hear from Emma, need to have a perspective on having better relationships.
Yeah.
Because just like Tony Robbins said years ago, the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. So, what would be the one thing you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
The one thing that I would encourage people wholeheartedly to embrace is that they can create the relationship that they love.
Hmm.
Most people give up too quick, in my opinion.
Ooh, man, that is so good. Emma, thank you so much for spending time with us. We appreciate you allowing us to really talk more about leveling up our relationships. And thank you so much.
I appreciate you, Pete, for having me on. Truly
My,
have enjoyed the time.
my pleasure.